Okay, so in your assignment, you'll have this image of a rocket, and you'll need that, so you'll need to download it. You can come down here to download image, and it'll be in your downloads folder. So let's go ahead and open Adobe Animate and create a new file. And you can leave it as the default width and height, and just make sure you have 24 frame rate. Make sure you can see your entire stage. So what we're going to do is, instead of just changing the stage color, because a lot of times when I go to export it, it doesn't save the stage color, and then you have to go back and do it again anyway. So we're just going to draw a rectangle over our stage. This is going to be the space background, so go ahead and make that a color that you want for your space. You could do black, or you could do a dark navy. It's kind of whatever you want to do. Okay? Okay, so this is my space. And now I'm going to add a new layer to make my stars on in case I want to move them around. I'm not moving my blue background. Okay, so I'm going to use white for my stars, and I'm going to use the Polystar tool. Now you can do this a number of ways. Over here on style, you can change it to star, and it's probably going to default to 5, which of course would be a normal star, but you can also change that and make different kinds of stars. So I like this star type better, so that's the star I'm going to use. So I'm just going to erase that one. And I don't want this to have a stroke, so I'm going to remove it. And then I'm going to just start duplicating these. And I might make them a little smaller, or just kind of change them up. You can have some big, some small, it's up to you. Okay, so I think I'm okay with that. I'm going to go ahead and lock that layer. So now what we want to do is import our rocket. You have to create a new layer first. So create a new layer. This is going to be where our rocket is going to be. I'm going to go to File, Import, Import to Stage, and choose my rocket image. And so now I have my rocket. I'm going to go ahead and use my free transform, and I'm going to hold shift, and I'm going to just make this smaller and put it over here to the side. Okay, we don't want it in our stage just yet. And then create a new layer. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the pencil tool to draw a path, and our rocket is going to follow along that path. So your pencil tool is probably not going to be on here, but if you click on Edit Toolbar, my pencil tool is already here because I've used it recently, and all you have to do is click on the tool and then drag it into your toolbar, okay, to use it. So I have my pencil tool. Let me close out of this. And you just kind of have to decide, what do you want your rocket to do? Maybe it's going to come in and do a loop, maybe it's going to shoot up straight, or maybe it's coming down. That's completely up to you. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit more, and mine's going to start coming up. Before you start, I just want to let you know that the main thing is to do this all kind of in one line and not have to stop and restart again, because if you have to stop and then you try to restart, the line's not going to match up, and then the rocket is not going to be able to stay on the path. Okay, so you might have to do this and then undo it and try again, because you want to do it in one single movement. Okay, I know it's hard to see. I'm gonna hide my space just so you can kind of see that better. So that's something there, but I want this line to be a little bit straighter. So what I'm gonna do is, again, I'm gonna hide this so you can see my line. I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to hold down shift so that my line comes up straight. Then I got to let it go to do my loop and then come out. But my loop is way too far down there. I'm going to try to move it up. So this, I'm just using my selection tool. hovering over the line and just kind of adjusting it. And you can try to make it a little smoother. You can even come and select your whole entire line, maybe. Hold on. I want to move it over. It's about right there. So just make sure that you're happy with your line. Again, if it's broken, you probably want to undo it and try again. Okay, so once you have your path down, you can right-click on your path and select Guide. Okay, now this part is the kind of tricky part. You have to grab your rocket layer and you have to come and bring it up to this layer 4 that I need to change the name to. And you're going to drag it right underneath it, and it should make this little arc looking thing, and that just means that the rocket is going to be linked to the path. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and name this my path. So make sure that you have that. If for some reason it's not working, let me know and I'll come help you figure that out. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to zoom out a little bit more so I can see the end of my line, which is down here. I'm going to grab my rocket and I'm going to place it here on my line. There should be a dot there. So you can see on my rocket, when I get closer to the line, you see that dot that's right underneath the window, and that's where the rocket is linking to the path. Okay, so I just put it at the very end of that dot. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to create our ending keyframe. I'm just going to go to 80 for now. So I have my first frame selected. I'm going to go down to the last frame and insert a keyframe. Okay, so make sure your rocket again is at the beginning of your line on frame 1, and then go down to your frame 80, and you're going to move this rocket to the end of your line. Again, you're just trying to find that circle, which is right here. Okay. Another thing we want to do is we want to rotate this rocket because it's going to be going kind of that way. So I'm going to get my free transform and I'm going to rotate it so it's going the right direction. And then again, you can make sure that if for some reason, if your rocket is not going up, that you can also rotate this so it's going towards your line. You want to make sure that you do that. And then we're going to right click on this rocket layer just in the middle of the span, and we're going to create a classic tween, and it's going to ask us if we want to convert our symbol to a tween, or you can click don't show again and it might not ask it ever again, so just click OK. And you will see that so far it does go along the path, but it's not going the right direction, right? So to fix that, we want to come on this first layer, make sure our rocket is selected, and we're going to go over here to our properties panel under frame, and we're going to check orient to path. Okay, so then if we move this forward, we will see that it's doing better going along the path, but that it's still not really going straight. It's going pretty crooked. So now, sometimes if your line looks great, it might be perfect, and that's good for you. But if it's not perfect, like mine, then we have to fix it. So we're going to come along, and when it starts getting a little off path, like right here, it's a little too much. All you got to do is insert a keyframe and rotate it back straight. Okay, so now it's going straight again. It goes a little off. I'm going to come up to right here, insert another keyframe, and straighten that out. And you can see doing that made it go straight the whole way. Okay, so now it's turning, and that looks okay. And it's going a little bit too far up there, so about right here, I'm going to insert another keyframe and rotate it. Okay, I want it to come a little more down here, so I'm going to insert a keyframe here and rotate it down. And I want it a little more straight this way. So I'm going to insert a keyframe and rotate it. Here I want it a little more up. So I'm going to insert a keyframe and rotate that. And same right here. Again, you don't have to come and do every frame because of the classic tween. It's going to kind of match up what you have. You can skip a few frames and rotate it, and then, whoa, don't do that. And then the classic tween is going to help it get to that point, so it shouldn't be too much. So please don't take the time and rotate every single frame, because that's too much work and that's not what we're doing. So you can watch it and kind of see, okay, does that look fine? Or do you need to maybe change any other frames or rotate them? I think I'm going to rotate this one just a little bit that way. Okay. I'm going to unhide my space layer so I just kind of get an idea of what that's going to look like. I'm going to click my preview button. So I feel like it's making a very sharp turn here. So I'm going to try to adjust that. So once you're fine with that, I mean, as long as the rocket is moving on the path, it should be fine, as long as it's not doing anything super crazy, as long as the line meets. And if your line didn't meet, the rocket would start and then it would stop wherever the line stopped. And then there's a way to fix it if you can't go back and redo the line, but it's just easier to just redo the line if you do have that issue. Okay, so after that, we're gonna export this as a GIF. Let's go to File, Export, Export Animated GIF. Make sure your background is showing up. You can preview it if you want to and click Save. And always make sure that your GIF plays. When you first open your folder down here, if you're in quick access and it looks like this, that's not the right file. You want to go to where you actually saved it and make sure it has this little image here, because that's the right file. So just make sure that it plays, and if you're good with that, you can turn that in.